Today, we are getting into a book that has absolutely taken the world by storm. It's sparked so much debate and left millions of readers feeling, well, completely wrecked. We're talking about Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us. Okay, let's just start right here. This comment from a reader, wow, it gets to the very heart of the complicated and honestly uncomfortable journey this book puts you on. It makes you ask some really hard questions, not just about the people in the story, but about yourself. So, how does a story like this even begin? Well, you'd think it was the start of a perfect fairy tale. We meet our main character, Lily Bloom, who's just moved to Boston for a fresh start. Now, to really get this story, you have to get Lily. She's opening her own flower shop. She's full of hope, but her past is everything. See, she grew up watching her father abuse her mother, and because of that, she made a promise to herself that she would break that cycle, that it would never, ever be her. And then, of course, she meets him, Ryle Kincaid. It's this random, cinematic meeting on a rooftop. He is a brilliant, passionate, and unbelievably charming neurosurgeon. He seems just perfect, even if he does say he's not the serious relationship type. The chemistry between them is just off the charts, and they fall into this whirlwind romance that seems too good to be true. But as you can probably guess, that perfect picture starts to show some really unsettling cracks. And the first crack is a big one. It's a truly shocking moment. Ryle accidentally burns his hand, and when Lily kind of laughs in surprise, his temper just explodes. He shoves her hard. For Lily, you can just imagine, that is her worst nightmare. It's a terrifying echo of her entire childhood. But then it gets complicated. Ryle shares this absolutely tragic story from his past. He reveals that he accidentally killed his brother as a kid, and ever since, he's suffered from these uncontrollable rages. And just like that, it's not so black and white anymore, is it? It makes it so much harder for Lily to just leave. Right when her world with Ryle is getting more and more confusing and dangerous, a voice from her past reappears. Her first love, Atlas Corrigan, is suddenly back in her life. So to try and process all of this chaos, Lily starts rereading her old childhood diaries, and they're written as these really honest, heartfelt letters to her personal hero at the time, Ellen DeGeneres. And reading these old diaries, man, it just puts everything into sharp focus. You see this huge contrast between the two men in her life. You've got Ryle's intense, passionate, but also violent love, versus the memory of Atlas, who was always steady, protective, and just plain kind. Through the diaries, we learn that Atlas, who was a homeless teen Lily helped, was her safe space. Their whole bond was kind of symbolized by this one little phrase from Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. It was their promise to always be there for each other. Okay, so this is where everything builds to a breaking point. The story hits this absolutely harrowing climax, and Lily is faced with a choice that feels, well, totally impossible. And just a quick heads up here, what we're about to talk about gets pretty heavy. The source material does contain descriptions of abuse that might be difficult for some, so please take care of yourself. Ryle's jealousy over Atlas just boils over. He finds Atlas's number, he reads Lily's private journals, and it all culminates in a brutal attack. It leaves Lily with absolutely no choice but to get out and find help. She flees to Atlas for safety and eventually ends up at the hospital. And it's there that she gets news that changes everything. She's pregnant with Ryle's child. And this is the crucial moment, the birth of her daughter, Emerson. You know, holding that baby for the first time gives Lily this moment of fierce, heartbreaking clarity. That love for her child gives her the strength to finally make a decision. She confronts Ryle with this impossible question. It forces him to see what he's done not as a husband, but as a father. And in that moment, he finally gets it. He knows he would tell his daughter to leave. Lily's journey is so deeply personal, but it somehow struck a chord with millions. So how did this intense, emotional story turn into a global phenomenon? Let's break it down. Well, it really starts with the title itself. It Ends With Us. That's Lily's ultimate choice. It's her declaration that the cycle of abuse she grew up watching will not be passed down to another generation. For her daughter, the pattern ends with her. And the power of that message is just undeniable. I mean, look at this. Thanks to a huge wave of popularity on TikTok's BookTok community, it became the #1 best-selling novel of 2023, years after it first came out. But all that success came with a ton of controversy. It sparked this huge debate. Does the book romanticize abuse, or does it critique it by showing just how hard it is to leave? The problem for many is Ryle. He isn't just a monster. He's charming and has this traumatic past that makes him sympathetic. For some readers, that blurred the lines in a dangerous way. The backlash got so big, they actually canceled a planned coloring book. Yeah, a coloring book. And as it turns out, the author's motivation was deeply personal. Colleen Hoover has said she was inspired by her own mother's experience. She wanted to write this story to explain the incredibly difficult reality of why people stay, to show everyone that it is never a simple choice. So ultimately, this book is so much more than a romance. It's really about courage, about self-respect, and about the incredible strength it takes to break toxic patterns, especially when your heart is on the line. And that brings us to the one question at the very core of this book. It's the question Lily had to answer, and it's the one I'm going to leave with you. Would you stay with someone you love if they hurt you?